What's up, my friends? Today we're talking about chicken feed. Specifically, we're gonna do a little bit of experimenting because I've been feeding my chickens everything from layer pellets that are like specifically formulated to help chickens lay the best eggs to a much more natural, locally produced food that's literally made from grains, like you can basically see everything that's in it. And they love both, and we get good eggs in both. And really, our goal with this is to be able to move toward, one, making our chickens more cost effective, but two, moving towards self-reliance. I wanna know exactly what I need to grow or be able to source to be able to produce my own chicken feed. Being able to rely on our supply chain, being able to rely on making sure that we're getting, the best ingredients and the best things, it's just not something I feel comfortable with, especially after what we've seen over the last few years. I want to be able to be more self-reliant, and that means being able to feed not only my family, but being able to feed my chickens that also help to feed my family. So today we're going to do a little bit of experimentation, and we're going to do a deep dive in what is in these to try to work toward figuring out what to grow to make our own chicken feed. Now, those of you who have experience with this, I would love your input. If you can give me any guidance on what sorts of things to grow or to source to be able to produce my own chicken feed, please let me know in the comments. Let's learn from each other. I think that's something this community does really well and something that I'd love to have happen right here on this channel. So thank you in advance for that. Let me know in the comments. But today we're gonna do a deep dive into these two chicken feeds. All right, so like I said, we have fed both of these different foods to our chickens. In fact, we've fed them a few different kinds of layer pellets, a few different brands. And frankly, they seem to eat whatever from what I can tell. But one thing we noticed was with this feed, this is Big D, it's produced here locally. And again, people here swear by it. Like, I'm in Facebook groups and stuff. Everybody loves it. They get great eggs from this. But we find that we get a lot more of kind of the scratch from this grain kind of spread out throughout the coop, which really makes us wonder, are they just picking out their favorite pieces and wasting a lot more food? So anecdotally, it feels like we go through that 50 pounds faster than we go through that 50 pounds. I also don't know if this is just way more nutrient dense, like calorie dense and nutrient dense, because it's been like engineered and processed, but also it's engineered and processed. So again, I really want to kind of dive into what goes into each of these. This one doesn't actually say on the bag, sorry girls, what's in it. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of research to figure out what's inside of it. This one does say right on the bag what they put into it, which is pretty awesome. Now, we're gonna go ahead and start right now by running an experiment. I'm gonna lay out some of both of these, and we're gonna put a camera on, and we're gonna see what the girls gravitate to most and which of the feeds kind of goes away faster. So we'll start that experiment, and in the meantime, we're gonna go do a little bit of research and figure out what the heck they're putting into this. Okay. All right, girls, come here. Come on. Better hurry up or you're gonna miss out. Lightning.
Follow?
Okay, well, I think the winner's pretty dang clear in terms of the preference for the chickens. So now let's go ahead and look at these two different products kind of side by side, some of their macros and micros, and see, is this one that they liked better, like as good for them, right? So let's look at the amount of protein. Chickens need good protein, especially layer hens, right? Because that's how we're gonna produce good eggs. That's how we're gonna produce good feathers in the molting season. Like we want plenty of protein. And this Purina, 16% protein, like that's pretty good, right? In fact, most of the layer feeds that I find, that's about where they're at, 16%. Let's look at this big D, 16%, all right. In fact, when I look at a lot of these numbers, the numbers are like basically really, really close or exactly the same. In fact, I get a little more calcium, which is important for their egg shells production. Get a little more calcium here in the big D mix. Maybe it doesn't have, oyster shells, but it does seem to have plenty of calcium. People in my area, they seem to love this feed from Big D that's naturally sourced and locally sourced. And one of the things I hear all the time is that their chickens are giving them like the best tasting eggs. Frankly, I've used them all. I've used a few different, like the Purina, but I've used some other brands, and I've used this layer feed from Big D. I haven't noticed a dramatic difference in the eggs. The egg production has seemed to be about the same. I get during most of the year about an egg a day from each of my hens. But, some people seem to notice a difference. So what is the difference between these? Well, if I'm looking at these again, the macros and micros seem about the same. But when we look at the ingredients, that's where I start to see a big difference. So the number one ingredient in the Purina, grain products. I don't actually know what that means. Like products from grain, like are we talking about like oatmeal? The next one, processed grain byproducts, plant protein products. Again, it's like products derived from plant protein is what that seems like it probably means. And then I get into like calcium carbonate, molasses products. And then the first one that's just, there's calcium carbonate, and the next one that's like just a straight up ingredient is oyster shell, and then salt, right? Like I get a bunch of products or byproducts. And as we go down the list, the top ingredients are basically like that. The further down the list I go, I start to get some like organic soybean oil, vitamin B12 supplement. Let's look at the Big D. When I look at there's the first ingredient, corn, peas, soybean meal. So they've taken the soybean and they've turned it into meal, like they've crushed it or whatever. Wheat, then calcium carbonate, vegetable oil, monocalcium phosphate. Now we're getting into some of those things. Sodium chloride, which is table salt, choline chloride. Now we get processed grain byproducts. So now they have some other processed grain byproducts and stuff that they're including in there, but that's way down the list. And as we know, the ingredients list is in order by how much of each of these there are. The cool thing is this actually helps us toward our goal. Because my goal isn't just to determine which of these two foods is better. I know which one my chickens like more, but my goal is to be able to produce this myself. Because chicken feed isn't super cheap. And if I can't produce it myself, then how self-reliant am I? Because cool, it's great that I don't have to go to the store to buy eggs. But if I have to go to the store to buy chicken feed, I'm still reliant on the store and I'm still reliant on the supply chain. So that's my goal. And in fact, become self-reliant and hopefully save some money. Chicken feed isn't cheap. When I look at this right here, like this Purina, right on their website, their price is $24.99 for a 50-pound bag, which lasts a little while, right? Several weeks for my 3 chickens. So it's maybe a little cheaper than just buying the eggs. Cool thing is this locally produced and natural non-GMO layer mix is only $16.50 for a 50-pound bag. Although if my chickens like it that much more, then maybe they'll eat it faster. So I'm saving money already there, but how much more could I save if I grew my own corn and my own peas and as much of this as possible? So now I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to put together my own chicken feed that's as well-rounded and well-balanced a diet as I can produce on my own. If I need to supplement with some products that I can't really grow very well myself, like maybe oats or straight wheat, that's fine. I don't mind supplementing it because those are easy staples that I can store a lot of. I already do store a lot of, and I can just store a little bit more for my chicken feed. So that's where we're headed next. I also know that there are a lot of people that are doing other things to help make that feed provide like some of the bacteria they need and stuff. And there's some things people are doing with compost. There's fermenting that a lot of people are doing. I'm totally cool to look into all that. If you're doing it, let me know what's working really well for you and what would you recommend. I really, really could use your help on this. So please, please provide it for me. I can look on Google, but I trust you guys way more than I trust Google. That's where we're headed. Let's make our own chicken feed. Let's be way more self-reliant and hopefully save some money in the process. And also, I hope to see you in our next video. And I hope to hear from you because I really want your help. See you guys next time.